Relatives of the man shot and killed at a Brown County jail will make an official statement today. As we've reported, Jonathan Tubby was taken to the jail after being pulled over for a traffic violation. While inside the jail, Sally Port, an officer fired his gun, killing the 26-year-old. Oshkosh police arrest a man accusing him of sexually assaulting a child at a YMCA daycare. Police are not releasing the suspect's name right now. They say he has worked for the Y for several years in different positions. A few details are being released as police investigate whether any other victims are out there. And we are taking a look at those road conditions. So wherever you go, either way, you've got to give yourself a few extra minutes this morning because we've got snow-covered roads, slippery stretches in some parts. You can see the blue in Green Bay all the way up to Door County, but then south of Oshkosh, Fond du Lac, that's where those slippery stretches are. This morning, we're taking you back in time as home movies from the 1930s.
Yeah.
In Oshkosh, they go viral online, and it shows a lot of places you might recognize.
It's a fun flashback. Yeah, Frank Keel.
Hey, good morning, guys. So we are in the atrium because this is a donation location for you as well if you want to bring a new unwrapped toy. I've got one here. This is a Smithsonian glow-in-the-dark volcano, and any of the drop-off locations, which by the way are posted on our website, they're going to have a box like this. So you just go ahead, get your toy. So think about a child out in the community. This is the Wolf River right here behind me. We're along Highway 54 and Mill Street. There is some minor flooding that we've been seeing in this area. In fact, if you look behind my right shoulder, that sign out there, that's the riverbank itself. The National Weather Service, they've issued a flood warning for this area because it's expected to rise more than a foot above flood stage by tomorrow. Let's see what we got. I think it's a little bit more accurate, a little bit closer over here. So yeah, it's still anywhere between 18 to 20 inches here in parts of Bailey's Harbor. But you know what? We talked to some of these Door County residents who say they just embrace it. People were a little, not disappointed, but they were kind of looking up at the skies, lots of clouds. But so far, things are pretty good. The sun is out. Now in court today, Karis asked to have contact with her other children who were taken away by Child Protective Services. To that, state prosecutors said that she should be aware those children will be testifying against both her and Maravia. Live outside the Brown County Courthouse, Aisha Morales, Action 2 News. This is an area where the trees are harvested. Dan says aside from the money loss, it's the labor that goes into what they do and the investment. That's all irreplaceable. There are lots of different options for insect repellent out there. I was able to find some of these at my local drugstore. There's a wristband, some wipes, even some typical spray. But experts say it's still a good idea to do a thorough check after your outdoor adventure. I made my way over to the southwest corner of the park. This is where the village says it might be a better idea to bring your kids. The water's a lot more shallow, but they still have lots more of those improvements to make to the park in the near future. Reporting in Howard, Aisha Morales, Action 2 News.
Shadow County tree grower says dozens of Christmas trees were stolen from his property. Dan Hanauer and his family owned Hanauer's Tree Farm, and it's in the town of Richmond, just north of Shadow off Highway 55. Shadow County deputies are investigating. Look by Aisha Morales hears from the owner who says he's lost a lot more than just trees.
They're sorted out by the size, species, and grade.
Dan Hanauer and his family have owned this tree farm for 53 years now. The trees are primarily sold wholesale and shipped off. Monday, he noticed something wasn't right.
It had snowed till about 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon, and I came down to the loading area here with a customer, and I could see tracks and I could see piles of trees that had been disturbed because the snow was not on the top of the piles.
It wasn't long before he realized 75 to 100 of his trees were gone.
You can see the outline in the snow where the trees were stacked.
He says total it's $2,500 taken from his family business.
$2,500, that's $2,500 straight out of my family's pocket. So yeah, it's a lot of money.
This is an area where the trees are harvested. Dan says aside from the money loss, it's the labor that goes into what they do and the investment. That's all irreplaceable.
The most frustrating part is the fact that you work hard for years. These trees are 15 years old from the time the seed was planted. You work hard for years and years and have no return. You work in the snow, you work in the cold, you work in the rain, you work in the heat, and then somebody else thinks that they should be entitled to the proceeds.
While the Shawano County Sheriff's Department investigates, Dan has a message for this Christmas Grinch.
There's always a path back. If the person who took these trees is watching, my thought would be come clean, return them, fess up, and there's always a path back. And if you don't do that, I really have no mercy on you.
In Shawano County, Aisha Morales, Action 2 News.
October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and today we met a survivor who is most thankful for her radiologist. She says if it wasn't for the woman's honesty, she would have had a much different journey. Here at 4, Aisha Morales introduces us to Mary Schneider, who hopes her story helps save lives.
At 78 years old, Mary Schneider chooses to smile even during the worst of times.
You have to have a positive attitude. If you don't, you're beating yourself. And that is one of the big things.
Earlier this year,
A concerning area, there is a denser, whiter, mass-like density in that part of the breast.
she was diagnosed with breast cancer.
The first thing that I thought about was, thank God, it's not my daughter, it's not my daughter-in-laws, and it's not my grandchildren.
She calls her radiologist, Dr. Masty with Baycare Clinic, her angel.
We believe in honesty with our patients. We believe in not providing false hope in some of these situations when we're quite concerned about an area, but at the same time, we try to provide reassurance that they did the right thing by coming in.
Dr. Masty, thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Still, nothing brings Mary down. In fact,
As long as it's not the kids, who cares?
she says humor is the best medicine, even for a double mastectomy.
I said to him, as long as you're in there, if you could take the spare tire and suck that out and the stomach, that would be very nice, because there's nothing going to be hiding anything anymore.
And post-surgery, she wanted to make others smile.
I'm doing great, Kevin. How are you doing? And I use this when my granddaughters came. It's okay. We can laugh.
Today, she's cancer-free and urges others to not be afraid and not wait for October to get a breast cancer screening.
It's how you deal with your providers, how you deal with them. Make sure you ask them questions. Don't be afraid to ask them. Tell me the truth. And Dr. Masty did that for me.
In Green Bay, Aisha Morales, Action 2 News.